Hi, everybody. We're finally back after freaking forever. This is the Nintendo Pipeline Podcast. We're not dead. My name is CMM or Clay. With me today, I have.
What up, Muffin? But you can call me Jared.
We're definitely not doing this a second time because I screwed something up in the audio a few minutes ago. So we're here to talk about Summer Games Mess 2023. E3 is dead, possibly forever. And there were a bajillion different presentations in the past like few weeks. We had the Sony one, the Xbox one, Summer Games Fest proper, Ubisoft, Grasshopper, Devolver. Everybody and their mom had a presentation besides Nintendo. Um, so we wanted to talk a bit about some of the games that we were interested from these presentations. We're not going through all of them. It would take forever, and frankly, we haven't watched all of them because we just had varying degrees of interest at this point. Um,
Yeah, we're going to go back and forth just discussing the ones that we're personally excited for.
yeah. So I guess to start, we are going to talk about some of the games that we're most excited for. I'll let one up start with that.
Yeah, so I just wanted to, I guess, start with kind of my most excited first, which was I guess it was kind of part of the Xbox thing, but also kind of its own thing.
Yeah.
And that was the Starfield Direct. Did you see any of that?
I watched a chunk of it. Well, I had it on,
Mhm.
and I watched some of it, and then I was distracted by other stuff
That's
um,
fair.
while it was happening.
Uh,
Generally, I see Todd talk, remember that his voice is high pitched, and then stop listening.
I think Todd has a nice voice.
He has a fine voice. It's just I always am expecting it to be deeper, and
Oh,
it's
okay.
not ever.
Yeah, I last year they showed the first trailer of Starfield, the gameplay. I was
Hmm.
like, I love these games, these big open worlds, but like that, what they're saying and what they're showing didn't quite inspire me. This year,
Hmm.
this 45-minute uh dive into a lot of the systems. Oh,
Tantalized.
I was in gamer heaven.
They specifically they straight up called this Starfield Direct, right?
Yeah, which
That's
is very
very
funny.
funny. Yeah, so
Um
what did you see this time, I guess that like really made it much more interesting to you?
Yeah, so the first time they when I heard them say 1,000 planets, I was like, "Oh God."
Yeah, the joke has been 1,000 empty rocks with, with nothing on it.
Yeah, and like, I was like, "Why? Why are they doing this? Why do that instead of like a few planets that are detailed?" And at this one, I understood why. And since they're like it's not going to be as complicated as a game like Elite Dangerous or Star Citizen or
Sure.
whatever Wing
God,
Commander,
I hope it's
but
not Star Citizen.
they're making us like a Bethesda RPG mixed with like a space sim,
Hmm.
like a light space sim.
Right.
But for those to work, you need like a bigger world than just like one little solar system.
Right.
Like it just wouldn't work like that. And like they straight up say they're like most of these planets are empty rocks.
Yeah.
You can build bases on them, you can mine for resources.
Right. I know they said I think they specifically said like some planets are like basically empty but are like resource planets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the game will tell you if planets have stuff on them, and
Oh,
missions will guide you different places. And just the Bethesda parts look great. Those cities look like the most detailed Bethesda cities we've ever seen.
hmm.
You can board ships, like any ship you see in the sky.
Oh, that's
You can
neat.
just hop on it,
Can you like
either to like
hijack it?
say hello or to like raid them.
Yo, let's go.
I was not expecting that. I thought like the ships wouldn't really have any like modeled interiors or stuff.
Right.
The shipbuilder looks cool. The out the out like the outpost system. Fallout 4 had one, but you had to like build it from the player's perspective, so it was very clunky. And this has like a really nice top down like kind of like strategy game type perspective
Oh,
for
I
it.
see. They have a different like view and UI.
Yeah, you don't just have
Yeah,
to control it from the same first person view.
that's cool. I
So it
like
seems
that.
like I'm more likely to engage with it in this game.
Yeah.
But
It
yeah, it looks like if they pull it off, like if they have um, like a lot of Bethesda side quests and a lot of things to do in this galaxy, then I could easily see myself playing 100 hours in this game easily.
how did the combat look? I'm
It
kind
looked
of
a lot
curious.
better than last year.
That's good.
It looked really fast. It looked
Oh, cool.
like there's a wide variety of weapons. There's like a jetpack, so you can
Ooh,
a lot more mobility than any other Bethesda game.
that's cool.
It just looked faster, and like the enemies had more reactions to hits.
I was gonna say, did it feel like did it seem like stuff seemed to have like actual like impact?
It looked more weighty, and they
Yeah.
actually in an interview with Todd, they were asking them about this. They were like, "Oh, did like id help you with like the shooting?" And they were like, "They did help us with the shooting, like in Fallout 4 a little bit, which I think you can see a little bit, but this one looks a lot better."
Gotcha.
Also, just visually, this is definitely the best looking game they've made.
Yeah,
Like
it's definitely a
the
looker.
the vistas look nice. The people look they're still like a little stiff, but they look
Yeah.
better. And just the pre-designed places look inspired. So I hope there's enough like of these non-procedurally generated areas. But
Yeah.
I this is my most excited game of the year after Zelda.
Yeah.
Oh, also just like I will say, like they've never done a space combat game before, or at least I don't
Yeah.
know. Maybe they've done something really early on, but like it looks fun, and I'm not usually into that sort of game.
So there's actual like spaceship battles.
Oh yeah, there's full spaceship battles. Also with have you ever played FTL?
I haven't, but I've seen a decent bit of it.
Okay, so a big part of FTL is like you transfer like energy cells from different parts of your ship, and you can
Sure.
do that here as well. So you can like take like cells away from energy and put them towards like laser or like towards your like hull
Oh.
and stuff.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's just like really
That is
like
cool.
cool like sci-fi
Like
mechanics.
that on the fly sort of like
Yeah,
yeah,
and
that's
just like
actually
it looks
interesting.
beautiful. Yeah, I'm not usually like a spaceship person. Like if this was
Yeah.
purely just spaceships only, I probably wouldn't care. But spaceships mixed with the on foot Bethesda stuff seems like something I could really get
So
into.
so I guess the one obvious comparison that comes to mind is No Man's Sky, which
Yeah.
has a semi-similar sort of setup here. What do you how do you see that game right now as like different from that? Do you think it is do you think it's going to be more enjoyable? Do you think it's like what do you think?
So No Man's Sky has made great strides, and it seems by all accounts to be like a really good game. But I will say the difference is that this game is space game mixed with Bethesda RPG, and that is
Hmm.
space game mixed with like survival crafting game.
Sure.
And I think the space stuff in that game is cool. I think the on foot stuff is bad. Like
Gotcha.
I just don't find it fun to be on those planets at all.
Hmm.
And like it's hard to see if a planet will have anything, and usually like they might just have like a little research base. So my hope is that the pre-made content in this game having more of a quest focus will just make it a lot more exciting for me in general.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes
Uh,
sense. Because No Man's
then
Sky is entirely procedural, right?
yeah, it's entirely procedural. It's very sandboxy. There's I just don't love the loop in that game, which
Yeah.
people will be like, oh, if you don't like that, like this looks like that, but like I think this looks much like different enough
Yeah.
that you could not like No Man's Sky and really like this, or not like this and really like No Man's Sky, or like both.
That there's nuance in both. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
cool.
there's difference in what they're trying to accomplish, even if they both have tons of planets and collecting resources from those
Right. They
planets.
have like commonalities, but they do
Yeah,
differ executionally.
yeah. I guess the last thing is they showed these really cool Starfield controller that looks
Oh,
sick.
yes. Was that the what is it, orange and white? Was that I think I might have briefly saw it.
It's like Yeah, it's like the orange and white one, but they have a headset and they also have that like pre-order watch or like special edition watch.
Yeah, I haven't seen the watch. Is it just like
It's
a watch or what?
it looks cool.
Yeah.
I don't think I would pay that much money for it, but it
So,
looks cute.
so
Like
you're
it has
telling
like
me
the
it's
looks
not
like a
like
UI from the game.
the Pip Boy, but
I
like
mean, it basically is like the
it's the
Pip-Boy. Yeah,
it's the Starfield Pip Boy, but
yeah,
like
it's the
maybe not as
Starfield
cool.
Pip-Boy.
Yeah.
Or maybe cooler,
Maybe cooler. Okay.
but
I'm personally like
that's
Fallout
yeah.
repulses me on so many different levels that like I'm just conditioned to find most stuff from that and not my thing, but
I love Fallout. That's one of my
like
favorite series.
that's a story for another time, but it's
Mm.
yeah. I mean, I guess do you feel like after seeing this that it's not simply like Fallout or Skyrim in space? Like do you feel like it has its own identity?
Oh yeah, because they're doing like all like they've never done vehicle stuff before in their games. So like just
Yeah.
having that adds a whole another level that
Yeah.
they've never had. But these games have always been just walk on foot across
Right.
this one map,
Yeah.
uh, and just adding that I think will change it so much.
Yeah, it seems like a pretty major new system,
Yeah,
especially with all the space combat and the stuff that you were talking
yeah.
about.
But that's Starfield. What? Let me hear about one of your most exciting
Oh,
games.
no one's gonna be surprised by my first, which is Mortal Kombat 1. Um, that game. So, I guess a little background. Everyone probably knows at this point that I'm a huge Mortal Kombat guy. I dig Mortal Kombat games. I like the old ones. I like the new ones. I like everything in between. Um, the most recent Mortal Kombat game was Mortal Kombat 11. And one way that that game differed from Mortal Kombat, the reboot, and Mortal Kombat X is that the game was very kind of like it was slowed down a bit. Some of the systems were changed, and the characters kind of felt very limited in what they could do. Um, the game didn't really feel super cohesive in you know um, what it seemed to be doing.
Yeah, it seemed a little slow compared to the other ones.
Yeah, which I don't mind it being slower. The thing I did kind of mind was that the characters are kind of just uh boring. I
Hmm.
guess for lack of a better, like there's very limited things you can do. Like they had like kind of limited strings, like there was limited things you could do off of combos. Like they tried very hard to kind of make it a bit more controlled and deliberate, but as a result it felt very simple, I guess.
Yeah. Would you call
Um
it stiff or no?
there's always that conversation about the NRS games feeling kind of stiff, especially in terms of like their animations and stuff. I could
Hmm.
definitely see that. I don't know if I would call Mortal Kombat 11 stiff, but I
Okay.
would call it like there's not much variety to it, and
Mhm.
there was finally more variety when they kind of like opened up like custom variations for tournament, but that's kind of another story in and of itself. Basically, it was still fairly limited until the end, despite like the huge roster, like the great presentation and all that. So right away with Mortal Kombat 1, what I wanted to see was if those gameplay systems would be changed or reverted more towards how Mortal Kombat 2011 and Mortal Kombat X were. And basically, the answer is yes. Pretty much everything that I wanted changed from Mortal Kombat 11, just in terms of like fighting system.
Mhm.
Pretty much all of that is what happened for Mortal Kombat 1, which is why I'm so excited about it. Characters are very they're very like they have a lot of different strings and moves and specials and options and things that they can do. Um, and that was like number one, like the biggest thing I had with MK11. So I can
Mhm.
see myself actually enjoying playing this one a lot.
That's good.
Um, I guess to back up a little bit, the Mortal Kombat 1 official gameplay trailer was shown at Summer Games Fest. It was like the second thing they showed. Um, and then afterward, Summer Games Fest had like their in person component, where like media and people were able to check the games out. And so I've been digesting a lot of the videos and stuff like that, and I'm pretty happy. So
That's
I
good.
guess to kind of try and summarize what I like about it, it's definitely faster. It's not necessarily as fast as Mortal Kombat X, but I do think it approaches Mortal Kombat 2011 in terms
Okay,
of
so
speed.
10 is the fastest one.
10 is very fast because it has a run function, kind of like
Mm,
Ultimate MK3 has. And MK1 does not have that function.
mm,
Um, that being said, there is a lot of cool stuff that you can do. So, like, the previous couple games were based on the variation system. So each character basically had different permutations that gave them different loadouts, essentially. And those loadouts would kind of give them like they'd have like a base set of moves and special moves, but the permutations would add on extra stuff too, and some might be different or better than others in certain situations and matchups. Um, X was very good about this because they were very distinct. 11, it felt like they kind of just like slapped some together. Um, in one, all of that is gone. So every character just has one version of themselves. It has all their moves. It has all their strings, which was a complaint from some people from previous
yeah.
games. Again, I think that complaint made sense, especially for 11. Um,
If
and
you're removing
then
the depth from the characters.
right, or that it felt like the characters were more limited, or that the mechanics were kind of done in such a way to kind of stop you from doing stuff. Um, this time the characters are kitted out. They've added aerial combo strings that each character
Mm.
has. Like every character has like multiple of those and a
Oh,
bunch of
wow.
built-in combos and a bunch of built-in special moves and special properties and stuff. And then what really makes it like really cool is the whole cameo system.
Mm.
So cameos are like Marvel versus Capcom 1 on like PS1 style assists where it's like
Mm.
they're a separate roster. Um,
Oh, that's cool. I didn't
and
realize that.
yeah, so when you pick your character on the character select, you pick your character and then you pick your cameo character.
Kind of like
Um,
your second character in like Mario Kart Double Dash.
Kind of, yeah. I would say probably more utility than that, but that's a good
Mm.
comparison, I guess.
For our
And
Nintendo listeners.
for anyone who only plays Nintendo games. Uh, but so like the cameos aren't just like you push a button, they do a move, and like that's their move and that's it. The cameos have a lot more depth. So each one has like at least three different moves that are called out depending on the direction that you press when you call them out.
Oh. Mm.
Um, Also, the moves can sometimes be charged or canceled or have different properties depending on when they're called out. They also
Wow.
use different amounts of meter. There's a cameo like meter. So certain moves will take up more of that. Additionally, cameos, every forward throw in the game is done by your cameo character.
Oh, why is that?
So basically, like what happens is you need a cameo on deck, and then if you do forward throw, your character shoves them, and then the cameo character throws them. Um,
Mm.
but
Does
your
that take
character,
meter?
no, that's just
Oh,
standard.
okay.
But your character, your playable character has a unique back throw. So there's even mix-ups
Mm.
going on with like the throw. Um, Same thing with like the super moves, like the X-ray moves. Um, these return but work like MK11, where it's when you're like at around 30% of your health, you're able to put out a fatal blow.
Mm.
But these fatal blows are combo supers. We don't know yet if the damage like is normalized or if it's different depending on the character, but at least visually, like you go in with a move and then like your cameo attacks them and then you attack them, so they're a bit more dynamic.
Mm.
Um, and then the other thing is that breakers, which pretty much are your combo breaker. Like if someone's hitting you in a combo and you hold forward and press block, you can break out of it. This
Oh, that's
time
nice. Yeah.
it's super expensive, so you need all three
Mm.
bars of your meter and the cameo on deck because the cameo actually performs the breaker. So
Oh.
there's a lot going on with the cameo characters and the cameo components, so it feels very well integrated. And the
Mm.
cameos basically just dial up everything to like insanity because they allow for so much in terms of combo expansion and like stuff you can do. Um, like you have these crazy combos with Sub-Zero, but then you can like, pop out like Sonya in the middle of a combo and she'll do her like flying punch in the air and that will like juggle them so that you can do like a combo extension, or
Hmm.
you'll have Jax with his like ground pound that can cause stuff to happen. Even like Jax, a character that's known for his like multi-throw stuff, like his forward throw is very much like you can meter burn it to do like the multi-throw stuff. So like there's a lot of dynamic and unique things going on with each
Hmm.
cameo. And the cameos also have their own skins and their own fatalities.
Oh
So
wow.
it's definitely not like a lot of people I think were fearing where it would be like, oh, like this character is a cameo and they have like one move and then that's it, and you call it out every once in a while. They're pretty well integrated.
Hmm.
Um, Other than that, excuse me, I just think the game looks absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, it's really pretty.
It runs seems to run very smoothly.
Hmm.
But the real relief for me was seeing that character depth and the depth of the cameo system, since that's kind of like the main central new addition
Yeah.
uh, this time around. And some cameos are actually playable characters on the roster. Like there's an overlap, so you could have
Hmm.
like
That's
two
cool.
Sub Zeros or like you know
Yeah.
two Kung Laos. What's kind of neat is that the cameo costumes typically are like from past games. So you have like Mortal Kombat
Hmm.
2's Kung Lao coming out as your cameo, or you have like a more classic looking Sub Zero coming out as your cameo. So it's
So
neat.
they you can't make them look exactly the same.
Right? They don't look exactly the same. They
Yeah.
have their own
You
costumes
can't
and
use it to like
skins.
trick people.
Right, yeah. I mean, you can. So the thing that's interesting too is that cameos can be hit, and you share a health pool.
Hmm.
Now, granted, they only will take like a small amount of damage, but it's still like a thing that
Yeah.
you have to factor in, or it can mess you up if like you're trying to extend a combo with them and someone knocks them out. So there's a
Hmm.
lot of elements and stuff going on to the point where like there's no longer environmental interactives. Like that
Oh,
system's
that's.
gone. Um,
I don't know if that's good or disappointing.
the backgrounds are just backgrounds now. I
Yeah.
think a lot of people are very happy with that. I personally
Hmm.
enjoy the environmental interactions, but I do believe that with the cameos, it would be too much.
Hmm.
Um, so there's a lot of changes. It's not just like, oh, we took Mortal Kombat 11 and it's gonna be the same thing, and now there's like some tag team element. It's very it's very neat.
Yeah.
So I'm really happy about that. That's honestly been like the number one highlight for me so far
That's
in
good.
all of this stuff.
Hmm. What this is just a general question, but like what kind of makes Mortal Kombat like your favorite like fighting series?
Um, it's a lot of it has to do with the mythology and the
Mhm.
lore. I'm much more of a fan of the initial trilogy in terms of like story and stuff, because I think a lot of what made those games special was John Tobias's vision for story and his art and his ideas. And since he's been gone for a very long time, that has definitely changed, and I don't
Mhm.
like it as much. However, even if I'm not like super wild about like creative decisions or like where the story's going, it's always a fun time, and it's always like very popcorn entertainment style. So like those are probably the only story modes like in a fighting game that I actually give a crap about
Mhm.
in terms of like cinematic story modes. I just think it's very fun, and the characters have just such unique identities, and they're just the characters in MK are just very like they're very like over the top. I know for me, like in certain fighters, like certain characters kind of blend together for me.
Mhm.
um you probably, some people will complain that Street Fighter has too many Shotos, and you know Tekken, these characters kind of feel similar, like they're all just doing punches or kicks or whatever, and I that's a bit silly, but my point is that the MK characters are a lot more distinct, I think,
Mhm.
between them, and that helps keep them I think interesting. And I also generally like that the MK games tend to have a lot of content, like offline and otherwise,
Mhm.
in terms of modes. So
Yeah.
now like Street Fighter 6 has kind of like done that. I'm curious to see what MK1 does with that level of content.
Yeah. I always like seeing when fighters aren't just like arcade mode and online.
Yeah, it sucks when it's like you don't have a lot of modes and variety to work with the mechanics, and I think sometimes Japanese fighting games will get stuck in that thing where it's like they have a budget but not enough of a budget to do much outside of like
Mm,
arcade versus training and
yeah.
online. The thing that's
Yes.
nice with MK is that Warner gives them a budget, so
Yeah.
they're able to do stuff. So I'm always excited to see, what they do with that. And I guess
Yeah.
the other thing is that MK tends. It's funny because some of the more recent ones haven't been this way, but the best MK games tend to be more aggressive ones. I tend to enjoy
Mm,
more aggressive fighting games, and this one looks to be a bit more aggressive than 11 did. So it feels like it's a return to what people um, enjoy about these games. So I guess that's kind of what makes it special for
yeah.
me.
No, that makes sense.
So it's just a yet another fighting game this year that I want.
Yeah.
It's they are putting it out on Switch and PC. And MK11 ran disturbingly well on Switch, so um, I'll probably end up getting it on PC. But
Mhm.
um,
Yeah, it makes sense for the visuals. Like,
yeah, I mean they give them the budget to make everything like
mhm.
the production quality to be crazy. And I think honestly this time the animations are also the animations are a common complaint for NRS stuff. I think this time there's definitely an improvement on those. Um,
That's good.
so it's definitely not for everybody. Like some people will find the style and the combos like kind of stiff and like it may not feel right to them, and that's fine. It's certainly not a game that feels like Street Fighter or Tekken. Um,
Yeah, it's very different.
yeah, but I
But it's, I
think
mean,
people who
it's,
do enjoy it will
yeah.
find a lot to like. Yeah.
And I mean, it's like, it's the best selling fighting game besides like Smash. So it's doing
Hmm.
something right.
Yeah, and I mean there's a lot of spectacle and like you know there's a lot of like I think casual appeal to MK. I mean
Mm.
obviously like having like these. I mean that's what fatals are. Just they're just spectacle. Um, they're just these things that make you go oh god or ooh or whatever, and people like that stuff, and I mean I'm
Yeah.
fine with it. So far I like the fatals in this one too. So
Mhm.
um, yeah, I'm just very happy, very very happy as an MK fan.
Oh, yeah. I am happy for you.
Thank you. We should definitely play at some point. I'm sure it'll be like free for a weekend or something at some point.
Yeah, if there's a free weekend, I try it.
There's
I
a
probably won't get that at launch, but
did if you have a PS5 or an Xbox Series, they have a online stress test coming up. I think next week.
oh, I
That
do.
you
Yeah.
can sign up for. I do not, so I cannot participate in that. But
Oh, yeah.
um,
Well, out
yeah.
of solidarity,
I mean, you don't
I'll,
have don't do it out of solid. If you want to
out of
try
sol-
it, I would try it. But I will be jealous. I will be jealous. But yeah. So what else do you got?
So instead of going from space game to space game, I'm gonna change my order a little bit, and I want to talk about the closer to the Summer Games Fest. You talked about the opener, kind of. Uh,
Yeah, what
uh,
was I forget what happened before Mortal Kombat.
there
There
was like
was like one game
one, yeah, but
that
it was very close to the beginning.
yeah.
But the closer was Final Fantasy VII
Yes.
Rebirth,
Yes.
which they showed a 3 minute, like, pretty detailed trailer. Uh, I have not played Final Fantasy VII, the remake yet,
Yeah.
but I've liked what I played of it,
Hmm.
and watching this trailer makes me want to get back to that sooner rather than later.
Makes sense.
Uh,
It
the
looked really good.
environments look the environments look gorgeous. I mean, like the first one was just like mostly Midgard, which is a cool city, but like this one having these like more sprawling landscapes just looks stunning,
Yeah.
really. Uh, like I think Final Fantasy games have really gotten that spectacle and budget to a place that just looks fantastic.
I mean, Square is so good at that visual spectacle. Like they're one of the greats in terms of that.
Yeah, so I don't have too much to say about this one. I just think it looks fantastic.
Yeah, I think it looks really cool. I'm kind of excited to see what they do with it since I think at this point most people know. I guess slight spoilers for Final Fantasy VII Remake is not a straight remake. Like it obviously there's some,
Yeah. I mean,
time
you
fuckery
can
and
see
stuff.
characters in this trailer that
Yeah.
should not be in this trailer if you just played Final Fantasy.
yeah. So Um, I'm curious to see where they go with that
Mhm.
aspect of it, and especially with the more open environments. I'm definitely curious about. I don't know if
Yeah.
this is accurate, but like my impression of what I've seen of remake is that like the areas are pretty like linear or whatever. It's like 99% of that game to me appears to be combat, and like there's not much else going on. Like it's combat and like story, and kind of seems like it. Again, I could be wrong. Um,
That's what
but
it seemed from what I played of
Yeah.
Remake.
It's kind of like you go to a point, you fight stuff, there's story, then you go to another point. Like there's not much in
Yeah.
between. So I'm kind of
No
curious.
blitz ball.
Yeah, there's no blitzball. I'm kind of curious if the more open areas and like what they're doing with this second one is going to maybe be a little bit different from that. But I mean, either way,
Yeah.
people seem to dig it. So
I hope so. And then something people were laughing at but during the show was that it's gonna be come on 2 discs,
yes, it's
which
like two
is
Blu-rays.
is funny. Which also means it's probably gonna be like 200 gigs or something.
It's gonna be a pretty
Oh my
massive,
god.
yeah, which is kind of hilarious.
Yeah.
I know there was that moment in the show when there was like that Final Fantasy
Oh,
what was
so
it?
funny.
Yeah, what was it? It was it DoorDash?
Yeah, or like a Chipotle code or something.
And he just fucking knew it. He was just
And
like,
he was like, "No,
"No,
no,
no,
no!
no,
Don't
no,
get
no."
excited yet."
Yeah. I will give it to
Uh,
him for actually scoring Final Fantasy as a closer.
yeah, that was
That is
their biggest thing by far.
that is definitely a far cry from Fast and the Furious or whatever it was at the Game Awards that year.
What do you got for us next?
I'm gonna be the guy. So the next game that um or one of the next games that I found I'm obviously very interested in is Sonic Superstars.
Hmm.
This game everyone's been going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth with.
Yeah.
Um, it's a new 2D Sonic game, but in a 2.5D style. It adds Amy in on top of the other three. There's co-op, and then there's also now there's like Chaos Emerald powers, so like you can climb waterfalls or you can send clones of yourself out there. And this has been such like an emotional roller coaster because Sonic Mania was a very special game for me and a lot of other people
Yeah, it's a
um,
great game.
in terms of like you know a game that we'd wanted for a very long time. Um,
Reminded people why they ever liked Sonic in the first place.
yeah, it's very much a Genesis style sequel um, to Sonic, and a lot of the zones in that game were old zones, but like the level layouts were completely different and they did different things and there was like unique content mixed in there too. In any case, it was kind of a dream scenario. Some great people that were very prevalent in the Sonic fan community helmed that game, and so naturally everyone's been kind of asking since then like where's Sonic Mania 2, and so we kind of got an answer to that. Sonic Superstars, I guess, kind of started life in the sense that they wanted to team up with Headcanon and Christian Whitehead again, and for whatever reason, it didn't quite pan out,
Hmm.
um,
That's a shame.
which is a shame. I'm appreciative that they at least tried. Now, obviously, who knows what happened behind closed doors? They could have been
Mhm.
giant assholes about it. I have no idea,
Yeah.
but um, on the surface, at least, I'm appreciative that they tried. So we have Sonic Superstars. I don't think it looks bad in terms of visuals.
No, I
Um,
think it's cute.
I think it's smooth. It brings back Fang into 3D, which I think is fun. My main concern right now is the level design because it turns out that
Yeah.
Sonic Superstars is being developed by Arzest, and you may know Arzest, uh, or uh, or their old name Artoon,
Oh
as
no.
the studio behind Yoshi's New Island,
Oh, I'm out.
Hey Pikmin, Yoshi's Island DS. They were the grunts, I believe, for Balan Wonderland, what the frick it's called. Um, and the reason for that is Naoto Oshima is the head of that company, and Naoto Oshima is one of the original character designers and level designers for the original Sonic games. He directed Sonic CD. He had his hand in level design in Sonic 1 and Sonic CD. Um, so to them, that makes sense. And I don't necessarily in theory disagree that that would make sense. However, Arzest games that I have played have all been the most miserable level design experiences. I think
Yeah.
the only one I played that I legitimately like I had fun with to the end was Yoshi's New Island, and that game is extremely unremarkable.
Hmm.
Um,
Did they do Yoshi's Island DS as well?
they did, and that game I despise.
It's okay. The,
It's
like the level design is just not very good.
Yeah, the level design in that game is like if you took the, you know that fortress in Yoshi's Island on SNES, marching like the little marching thing, and it's like kind of like a maze.
Sort of.
It's like if you took that, made it more complicated, and made it the whole game. Like every stage
Yeah.
just felt like a
Yeah.
labyrinth.
They were labyrinthine in ways that were not fun.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
no,
just
I
was
agree.
not fun to me. So that's why I despise that game. Yoshi's
Yeah.
New Island is very meh, but
I thought
the
people hated
levels
that one.
I didn't hate that one. I think it's unremarkable, but I
Yeah.
wasn't actively angry playing it. Like
Mm.
I enjoyed pieces of it. Like the level design wasn't incredible, but it wasn't like angrily bad.
Yeah.
So for what
Eh,
they've shown so far with Sonic Superstars, I'm not particularly impressed with what I've seen of the level
the level
design so
design
far.
doesn't look great. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very like it kind of seems
Basic.
not like a lot of it seems a bit too automated for my tastes and places. And Sonic's always had like, parts where you run through like a speed booster and like go through loops and the game kind of like, you know, goes for a bit and like some of that is fine, but it was a little bit too much for me in there, and I also wasn't wild about like, some of the gimmicks and like how they looked visually. You could tell this game is a budget game.
Mm.
It's
Which,
yeah.
yeah,
Eh,
it's a budget game, and they're still charging $60 for it.
Sure, and I don't have any issue with charging $60 for the game if the content is good enough and um and is solid.
I just
My
don't trust them to do that.
my concern is I don't trust RZS to be able to pull off the level
Yeah.
design. Um, it's funny because the footage they showed in the trailer versus the footage they had on the show floor, it was obviously different builds. The trailer
Mm.
footage was worse than what they had on the show floor.
Oh, that's funny.
It was missing stuff. Right now, all the music is placeholder.
Huh.
Now, T Lopez, I always butcher his name. He's confirmed to be assisting with music again. And I think Jun Sano was doing the main work. So there's going to be some very solid tracks in the game, but obviously we just haven't heard them yet. Um, I think I like that it's they kind of went with the classic Sonic motif of this game takes place on like a new island or a new set of islands and there's new zones.
Yeah, I like that they said there's no old levels.
Yeah, it's all new levels. I think the names for the zones so far are awful.
What
There
are
is
they?
Bridge Island Zone, which is like the Green Hill looking one,
Huh.
and then Speed Jungle um, is the other one. I don't know totally how the Chaos Emeralds and special stages work yet. There's like a new special stage that's like 3D, and there's like you grapple onto different points and get
Oh,
medals from
okay.
it. And then there's bonus stages where they're like the Sonic 1 ones where you're like rotating through like the little maze.
Huh.
Um I also don't trust them with the Chaos Emerald powers. Like the clone toss one already looks very cheesy and situational.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't know that I trust them to be able to nail all these things, especially with the whole
No.
game being co-op.
I will
Um,
say, yeah, I'm worried about co-op, and also like, did you see that the fog of war parts in the trailer?
yeah,
That looks bad. That looks like a bad looking effect.
it's visually bad. I'm just hoping it's unfinished.
Yeah.
But I don't generally like that gimmick
No, it's not usually good.
in stages to begin with. They had that gimmick in Sonic 4 of all things in one of the
Eh,
acts. Um, and again, I'm just not convinced that the individual level gimmicks and level design is going to be good. Um, there is going to be a local and online battle mode, which is cool. But it doesn't look like the co-op is online, which is a bit
Which
unfortunate.
is
That's like the main
Yeah,
attraction right there to me would be
that's a
for
main
online.
attraction. Like, I'm never gonna play this game local.
Yeah, like
Like, online is the only chance I would play this
y-
multiplayer.
yeah, other and I mean, granted, I'm probably not going to be playing it multiplayer in general because that's just
Yeah,
I don't know that I'm not sure if the playing through a Sonic game co-op would be
I'll be
fun
honest.
in terms of like how they're going to do it.
I prefer the new Super Mario Brothers games by myself too.
Yeah, and I mean
I don't know.
that's fair. It's just, it all is going to come down to the level design, and that
Yeah,
is the scary part because
low hopes.
RZS does not have a good track record with that,
Yeah,
in my opinion. So,
yeah. It's
and
pretty though.
it is pretty. The other thing is that Oshima directed Sonic CD, which I think is literally the worst of the classic series
Oh
games,
yeah, I think that game's bad.
and easily the worst level design
Oh
of the
yeah,
classic
it's so
games. It's
confusing.
very like scattered
Mhm.
and I'm like, yeah, that tracks. If you told me that like they got Yazuhara back doing level design, or if you told me that, Christian Whitehead or, Headcanon were back on this game, it would be a totally different situation for me right now. I'd be thrilled, but as it is, I'm
Yeah.
tepid. And the
I
other
guess the one
thing,
thing we know that will feel good is like the
yeah,
controls should feel nice. They said it's the same
yeah.
physics as Mania.
Yeah, so Christian Whitehead confirmed on Twitter that they converted Mania's physics into whatever this new engine is. So
Yeah, that's
that
something at
is
least.
good. They're not fucking around with that, which is great. I will say both the bosses I saw were not good looking.
Yeah.
One of them in particular, the Eggman boss, he like swings around and shoots like a grappling hook or whatever. That one in particular looked horrendous. So again, low hopes here, but I'm holding out. I'm holding out hope. We will
Yeah.
see.
Would you say you're holding out for a hero?
I may be holding out for a hero. Also, they showed there's a bonus costume you get for Amy if you sign up for their newsletter, and literally it's her like modern costume, like the red dress kind of thing. But the way that it's in that game, it looks like they just like pasted her like old head on top of it. It looks awful. So yeah, that's also a thing. What about you? What else do you have? Hopefully something more hopeful than Sonic
You want to hear about another
Superstars.
space game?
Sure, I'd love to hear about another space game.
This will be our first Ubisoft conference game we
Yes,
talk about, which I think this was teased at the Xbox
it
event.
was, and then they were like, full gameplay reveal at Ubisoft.
Yeah, and I thought like I was like, oh, this can't be like they got Avatar coming out. Like
Hmm.
this has got to be pretty like far off. I bet they're not really gonna have actual gameplay,
Yep,
but they did.
they did.
It looks like the trailer start like the gameplay starts. It looks exactly like Watch Dogs Star Wars, which like sure, okay.
Okay.
I was like, okay, I might be able to be into this. And then they exit the she exits the base and gets on a speeder bike and is like driving around this open world. And I'm like, okay, all right. So
Hmm.
like more like Watchdog Star Wars. Okay, could be cool. And then there's some dialogue parts with a few dialogue options, which was neat. And then they fly into space. Uh, and like there's like the seamless transition between flying and like on the ground and being in space, which is just really cool.
Yeah.
Uh, and they showed like warping to different systems, and like there's multiple planets, so it seems like a pretty big thing. So like multiple open zones, and like it's not going to be like Starfield. So I'm wondering like I guess my guess would be wherever you kind of land on a planet, you just land in the area you're
Yeah.
supposed to be in.
I
It kind of
see.
like
Yeah.
bake. That's just my guess
Yeah.
because they're not going to simulate planets. They have no reason to. It wouldn't make sense.
Right.
Um, you
It's
would
not
just
going to be like
have
a
like
Starfield or No
no, you'll
Man's
just have
Sky.
like the
Yeah.
whatever like the three or four towns that they
Yeah.
have or something. But
Yeah.
still, it looks. I mean, it's Ubisoft, so you gotta like take it with a grain of salt. But it looked good. It looked like a solid game.
I noticed that you called them open zones, and I'm like, whoa, is the sequel to Sonic Frontiers here already?
Well, the reason I say zones is because since there's multiple open areas, I can't
Right.
imagine like any of them being like as big as like a
Sure.
Watch Dogs or Assassin's Creed world. So maybe they'll be smaller, kind of like have you ever played what was that alien game? Destroy All Humans?
I've always wanted to, and I never did.
There's like you like warp between like multiple very small open world sections.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah, that
Uh
makes sense.
yeah.
I
But
watched a little bit of the Star Wars gameplay. I'm not really a Star Wars person that much,
mhm.
so like I was kind of like half paying attention, and at least what I recall, the gunplay didn't look too bad. Um,
Yeah.
you know, I
It's made by a good team. I think Massive is one of the better Ubisoft teams.
I did find some of the dialogue very like I wasn't about some of the dialogue, but
Yeah, that's fair.
everyone has their own
Mhm.
mileage on that. It felt like it wasn't quite like what was that game? It was not quite Forspoken level, but
Yeah.
but it was kind of like that annoying a bit of
Like
that annoying kind of like, whoa guys, well guess what happened
yeah.
here? I'm like, oh, all right, all right. But I like that the player character is this cool lady. Like
Mhm.
she seems cool.
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully it turns out good. It'd be nice to see a fun open Star Wars game. I know they had I don't did you play the recent like Jedi, I don't remember. Whatever one has the redhead in it.
I'm playing through the first one right now,
Hmm.
but I've not touched the new one yet.
Okay.
But I turned it down to easy mode today because I realized like I like that game, but I don't like the combat.
Sure.
And I'm liking it a lot more now that I turned the difficulty to the easy mode.
I've heard that
Find it a
game
lot
is
more
kind
fun.
of like a mix of like with a little bit of Dark Souls in it in terms of like
Yeah,
how
but
it
like
plays. I
it's
don't know if that's
mostly just like a
accurate.
3D action adventure game.
Do you think like from what you've seen of like of Outlaws like
Mhm.
versus that like what do you feel is like kind of like different about them, I guess, if that makes sense, like in
Yeah, I
terms of
mean like
like
that in just general structure wise, that's a 3D action adventure game.
yeah,
Think like hmm, maybe like an Uncharted a little bit,
yeah,
but not quite that like on rails. Like
yeah,
the zones are like a little bit more open,
right,
but not quite a Metroidvania.
sure.
But I mean, you unlock abilities that let you like traverse through different paths, but it's still pretty linear.
That's the one you're playing through, correct?
Yeah, the
Yeah,
Jedi Fallen Order, which has a sequel, Jedi Survivor.
right.
But so
So
that's a game that lightsabers. It's
right, whereas Outlaws is more like
Outlaws. You're playing as like a smuggler type character, so no lightsabers. No,
mhm,
I don't think she has force abilities. Who knows? But
right.
from what we're seeing in the trailer, it doesn't seem like there's any force abilities or lightsabers. So it's and this is more like an open world game.
Yeah,
So that's why I compare more like a Watch Dogs.
right.
Uh, because
I don't is
this will
there
be open world rather than like a more linear type game.
does is it at all again, I'm not familiar with these games, but is it
Mhm.
similar to Mass Effect in any way, or is it not really that kind of
Mass Effect
structure?
Mass Effect is a more of a linear game,
Yeah,
at least in the older ones. I think Andromeda is an open world game,
gotcha.
but they're linear games where you go from planet to planet, kind of more like Jedi Survivor
I
actually.
see. Okay. So whereas
But
this one
also
is like you're kind of going back and forth between a bunch of different
they're at
locations,
least
it
more
seems.
open world type
Yeah.
areas, and you
Yeah.
also have the spaceship combat in this one as well.
How did that look? I know we talked about
Um,
Starfield spaceship combat, and that's obviously going to be a bit different than how
it was
Star Wars. Yeah.
I will say it was a higher visual quality than I was expecting.
Now it was EA that did that ship, was it Star Wars Rebel?
Oh,
No.
Squadrons?
Yeah, maybe that's what it was.
Yeah, they did Squadrons a few years ago. I heard that was good. It was more multiplayer focused, so I didn't really
Right.
care about it.
Did the combat in this one look at all like that, or was it a bit like a bit of a different focus?
I would say this one looks like more like those PS2 games like Starfighter.
Okay. Yeah.
Uh, but it looked like arcadey and fun.
Arcadey, yeah.
Which I
Like I
mean,
mean,
Squadrons arcadey too, but it was like the cockpit view. It was
yeah. Yeah.
more intense. This one looks more like cinematic-y,
Gotcha.
which is good for this type of game.
Yeah, it seems like I mean, it's obviously not the necessarily the focus of the
Yeah,
game so much as a component of the game.
yeah, but it's good. It's there for the that Star
Yeah.
Wars smuggler fantasy.
Yeah. I know they
You
have like
want that there.
you have your own ship or whatever, like they design their
Yeah.
ship for it and all that fun stuff.
So if they pull this off, like
Yeah.
it's
I
still
mean,
far off. I think it's at least 2024.
yeah. I mean, I tend to be like again, I'm not an open world person. Like the
Mm.
most open world I've gotten is like generally like Zelda Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom. I did Sonic Frontiers. I've
Which
tried
is literally the most open world games,
yeah,
the Zelda ones.
I've tried some others like Skyrim that I wasn't into,
Yeah, those don't seem like
um
yours.
but like the and so when I hear Ubisoft and open world, I'm kind of like, okay.
The
Um
thing is, like
but I don't know how fair that is because again, they're just not
yeah,
games that I play or
I will
really
say they're
experience
usually
much.
very solidly made games.
They're
They're just
competent.
like they follow a very strict structure, and that
Hmm.
structure is often pretty boring after like a few hours. So the
Gotcha.
hope is that Star Wars can bring that, just make that more exciting on its own,
Right.
and hopefully they can make the objectives a little more interesting, and maybe the open world objectives a little more interesting.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense. Yeah, again, I didn't see the entire Ubisoft presentation, but it seemed that it was less complete crap than it usually is. I
It
don't know
was
how to
better
say it
than
other than that.
usual. Yeah. Um.
They had there was a game in there that's my next game
mm,
that I am very interested in. And that is the new 2D Prince of Persia,
mm,
which is a Metroidvania
Yeah.
style Prince of Persia. I honestly, looking at it, I thought it was a Mercury Steam game.
Yeah.
That was the vibe that I got from it. It looked like it has those like counter and like close combat situations, kind of like Metroid Dread. Um,
I thought it looked kind of. I thought the combat kind of looked kind of like Dead Cells.
it did look a bit like Dead Cells as well. In terms of the combat, the combat looks very smooth
Mm,
um, and fun. And I know it's kind of like it looks like made to like encourage your creativity in terms of like killing enemies and setting up combos and stuff.
mm.
This was a very pleasant surprise for me. I
Yeah.
don't usually care much about Ubisoft anything. If you unless they like give me Rayman, I generally don't care.
Well, on that note, do you know who makes this game?
I don't actually.
This is the team that made Rayman Origins, I think.
Oh, okay,
I'm pretty sure I heard that somewhere.
interesting.
Uh,
That
Fans can correct us if we're wrong,
yeah,
but
if that's wrong, then whatever. But if that's the case, then that's awesome. The game looks very smooth. It looks
mm,
great. They confirmed that it's going to be running at 60 FPS on Switch, which is awesome.
oh, yeah,
I like the character designs and the monsters and stuff.
yeah. The
Um,
backgrounds are pretty too.
the backgrounds are very pretty. They have that like neat like I guess the whole like thing is like what it's like multiple time periods happening at the same time. So you have this like weird
Oh,
like floating debris stuff and like doing stuff kind of like
mhm.
reassembles it and like there's these like anti-gravity kind of powers or like you can make a clone or like a I don't know how to call it like maybe like a recall point for yourself
Mhm.
and then like in the middle of a combo like go back to that and like be in the air again and
That's
like
cool.
all these cool like dodges or like weird fun combat abilities and it's a Metroidvania so there's like that element of getting new powers and being able to go to different locations. They haven't shown a huge amount, like they showed a good amount of gameplay. There was like a
Mhm.
gameplay like guided presentation I think
Yeah,
trailer that was put out, but honestly it looks so smooth and fun. Like I don't need that these games to be like super intricate and have all these systems and things going on. I am so down for something that knows exactly what it is and is simple and does, you know, what it's looking to execute on. And it just looks so good. Like
Yeah.
I'm like that honestly, that was the game from the Ubisoft presentation. I'm like, that this is cool. Like,
Oh, for sure. Yeah, and it's great to see them doing these smaller games again. Like they used to do the Rayman Origins and
yep,
Legends, which were awesome.
yep. They
Did
had
you
like what
play the
Child of Light and stuff like that too.
yeah, I was gonna say, did you play like Grow Home?
What was it called?
Grow Home?
I don't think so. I don't think I'm
Oh,
familiar
Grow
with that.
Home. I think you'd like those games.
Okay.
They're like these like 3D platformers where you're just climbing up these giant structures.
Oh, that's neat. Yeah, I like
And it's
stuff with
like you play as
verticality.
this little physics driven robot.
Oh, okay. That sounds
Yeah.
cool. Those are Ubisoft?
Yeah, there was two of them. There was Grow
Oh.
Home and there was Grow Up.
Oh,
And they
okay.
were both very
Interesting.
fun.
Yeah, I had no idea. I'll have to check those out. I tend to like Ubisoft's mid-range stuff more.
Mhm.
So I like Just Dance. I like the Rayman stuff. I like this Prince of Persia game. Like, I like when they do stuff that's not like their AAA
Mhm.
monsters. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was getting worried. Again, I am always worried as
Same.
time goes on about these companies that are in this space, like Ubisoft or EA or whatever, solely doing these like large ass AAA cinematic games. Because for me, those are generally the antithesis of fun. Like, I'm not into it. So I like seeing mid range stuff. I like seeing stuff that's like, not necessarily like, this like narrative heavy or cinematic, like high production quality. But like, again, their mid-range games are still very nice and look good and run well and play
Yeah.
well. So like,
And I think
I'm
that's great for companies to
thrilled.
have.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm thrilled with Prince of Persia. I wasn't expecting it at all,
Mhm.
especially with all that news about like, oh, Prince of Persia Sands of Time remake is in concept stage again now or whatever the
Yeah.
hell after that got like
Oh my
canned and
god.
redone or so. I'm like, oh great, like,
Yeah, that was
I'm like,
wild.
okay, well that's that. And then they just have this new Prince of Persia game out of nowhere.
Yeah, it was such a surprise.
So
That was one of the first things shown at
that was the first thing at Summer Games Fest, wasn't it?
oh, that was the
I
first
think
thing.
that was
Wow.
the first thing. It was
Yeah.
that and then into MK. So like that opened on a nice surprise for me and then
Yeah, that
immediately
was a
went
good
into
note.
MK and I'm like, damn, I'm actually enjoying a Summer Games Fest for right now. Um,
um I wasn't planning on talking about this, but I just
mhm,
want to bring this up really briefly because we were talking about Ubisoft
mhm.
and their big games. They showed a big trailer of the Avatar game.
Yeah, I didn't see that.
I don't this is not a game I'll play.
Mhm.
It looks which I think this is a good formula. It looks literally like Far Cry but on Pandora, which I think that's an okay formula, and I think the Far Cry formula works well
Yeah.
for what they're going for with this. But this one seems like just the very standard Ubisoft game. I'm like, okay, I know exactly how this game is going to play. I know
Yeah.
that there's going to be enemy camps. I'm going to spot the enemies. I'm going to go kill them, and I'm going to do the same thing for like 15 hours.
Yeah.
Like it looks competent, it looks well made, but unless this game comes to like a subscription service,
Yeah.
I will not pay money for this video game.
Yeah, you'll like if you have
No way.
access to it, you might try it
Yeah,
and that's about it.
but I would not pay money for that one. It looks very by the numbers.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, generally Ubisoft, like I said, doesn't really do much to inspire me, but like they
Yeah.
occasionally will surprise me with
Mhm.
something.
And that's why the Star Wars one like looked like
Yeah.
a little different.
Yeah, which is
We'll
cool.
see. Yeah.
Um,
Do you have any smaller stuff?
yeah, I guess one I'd like to briefly mention is that Little Nemo game.
Hmm.
Capcom made an NES Little Nemo game a long time ago. That was neat, and now I guess another company is doing their own spin on it. It's coming to Switch and Steam. It's a hand-drawn 2D platformer. It looks a bit on the slow side, so your mileage may vary on
Yeah, I
if you
thought
dig it. Yeah,
it looked a bit too slow for my taste.
it's definitely like it's kind of its own thing, and I just thought it was visually very interesting. Um, so I'm kind of keeping an eye on that.
Mhm.
And I guess otherwise, in terms of small stuff, there was that Hellscape game,
Oh yeah, yeah,
which I thought was I don't even remember much about it other than that you're like a
yeah.
demon or
It was
something.
Tony Hawk mixed with action, but what ruined it for me?
Hmm.
It's a fucking roguelike. I'm out. I
Yeah.
don't care.
I
I'm over it.
I yeah, I don't like dislike those games, and I'm okay with like elements of them, but like I'm kind of good, you know.
Yeah, I also thought like it was a fun idea, but I didn't think it looked very fun.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then,
Um,
like if we're talking about like indie skateboarding games, just like
sure.
Skate Story looks like uh
Yeah.
just looks miles and miles better.
I know you had a few other like I think you had a few other like bigger games.
Uh, they're 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 not bigger in what was shown.
Mhm.
Like I just want to say that Avowed and Clockwork Revolution look interesting.
Yeah.
I like first person RPG games,
Mhm. And
and
that's the
those both
Obsidian one, right?
what the Avowed is Obsidian. That
Yeah.
one we saw actual gameplay of.
Yeah. It looked very
Uh,
colorful and
yeah, it
neat.
looks cool. It's like it's gonna be like more the size of like an Outer Worlds game, which I think
Yeah.
is good. Like I don't think they need every game to be like the next Skyrim.
Yeah.
Well, I'm happy they found like the scale of game that they were comfortable making that they
Yeah.
wanted to make.
Was
Um,
and then Clockwork Revolution, was that the one they ended the Xbox show on?
yeah,
Yeah.
and that's by In Exile, who does like
Mhm.
the Wasteland games,
Oh,
which
okay.
are these like top down like more like computer RPG type games.
Right. This was like
Um,
a what, a first person steampunk sort of.
Steampunk RPG.
Yeah.
So it looked very much more like conceptual footage. Like this is what we want the game to look like.
Yeah.
Um, like the whatever in engine. It wasn't gameplay.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
Sounds right.
I like steampunk and I like first person RPGs.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, fair.
Yeah, and I guess another first person RPG. They showed the Cyberpunk DLC.
Oh, right.
Uh,
Yes, that's right. I forgot about that.
yeah, just getting all the first person RPGs out of the
Yeah, just
way.
getting all that. Yeah.
But that looks good. It adds a new area to the game, and they're also doing like a massive patch with that
Mm-hmm.
for all owners. So
Oh,
it's going to change like a lot of systems in the game. Your clothes are no longer going to give you like or they're not going to act like gear anymore
okay.
unless they're like specifically like armor.
Oh, I see.
But like
Yeah.
your regular clothing will just be clothing, and you'll get like these sort of like chips and things that more stat changes.
Yeah.
But they're changing that. They're changing like skill systems. It seems like there's just like a bunch of revamps across the whole game. So I think like if you've ever been interested in that game, wait until this update comes out.
Yeah.
I think one developer said like they wish this is how the game would have launched.
I mean, yeah, that's cool. I
Yeah,
mean, hopefully it lands, yeah.
yeah.
Um, I know
What's next for you?
there's a couple small ones. So some of the stuff in the Day of the Devs presentation, which I tend to
Yes.
like
Hmm.
a lot. I sadly was kind of distracted while this one was going on, so I wasn't paying the closest attention. But there was a few things in there that I thought were neat. One of them is Beastie Ball. It's the
Hmm.
Chicory and Wandersong dev.
Yeah,
Now I know Wandersong is kind of whatever to some people.
I
Chicory I
hated
think
it.
is the more interesting
I
of
heard
those
Chicory's
two.
good.
Yeah, it seems neat. It's volleyball. It's a turn-based volleyball RPG, but like, and you're recruiting players, and basically like they're creatures like Pokemon. Um, so like you build a team, and I guess they have like relationships and stuff like that, and like combo moves. I'm not into turn-based RPGs generally. I just thought it visually looked really cute. At first, I was wondering if it was by the Dodgeball Academia people. It's not. But I thought it was a really neat idea. Um, I also really liked they showed a game called Haunty.
Oh
It's
yeah,
yeah,
what? Yeah.
it's visually very neat. It's like this like almost this like I don't want to say 1-bit because it's not exactly what it is, but it's a
Hmm.
very like black and white and like shades of color. Like it uses color in a very interesting way, and it looks kind of like almost like a like it's kind of like a twin stick shootery sort of game, but like a bit different. It's not like wave based or whatever. Like you're exploring and there's like puzzles and stuff,
Hmm.
but there's also plenty of combat. I just thought it looked neat. Um, and then I think the one other from Day of the Devs was, I don't even know how to say it. It's called Ete. There's whatever. It's like a black and white world from a first person perspective, and you paint it and like collect like you get XP from coloring it, and like the blobs fly at you. It just looks satisfying. I don't know if it's like enough to like, you know, if the concept and the gameplay is like enough to sustain um
Hmm.
the game, but like basically like once you color stuff, you can use it to make pieces of art. So like
Hmm.
you can import all these objects into like onto a canvas, and make these art pieces, and like you can end up making your own like paint studio essentially. So
Oh,
like
that's fun.
you meet people in the world that commission you for art, and you have to use the stuff that you've colored in the world to make that art. Um, so it's neat. It's a neat idea. I'm curious to see how it
Mhm.
will come together.
Did you see the viewfinder trailer?
I did. I was actually looking at that a little while ago
I thought that
because
looked cool.
it
I've seen
looks
that idea
neat.
before.
Yeah.
Like it's not a new idea to games. There was a game, there was some indie 2D game a long time ago that did this exact same thing. But it's a cool idea, and it looks like they're doing it in interesting ways.
Yeah. It kind of reminds
Whether
me
that
of
means the whole
like,
game will be inspired, I don't know,
right.
but
Apparently
it's
there's a
neat.
demo out, so that's cool.
Uh oh, okay. Maybe
I
I'll
mean, I
check it out.
haven't touched it,
Yeah.
but um yeah, that seems neat. Um was there anything else that you saw that was neat?
Oh, there was a game. It wasn't a reveal. It was just a new trailer for that Lord of the Rings Return to Moria game.
Oh, yes. Okay. I didn't see
Which
this at all.
yeah, so this is like a it's a Lord of the Rings like underground game in Moria where you're dwarves, and it looks kind of like you're building like a base of some sort, and
Hmm.
then like going through like procedurally generated like mining tunnels and
Oh,
like
okay.
fighting monsters and stuff, and like it looks like a pretty fun co-op game
So it's kind
if
of
it's
like
done
a,
well.
does it have any like tower defense elements, or is it mostly just like you're building up your
I'm That's what I'm not totally sure,
interesting?
but
I mean,
just what they were showing looked interesting.
hopefully it can't be worse than Gollum, right?
Oh yeah, it looks much better than that.
Can't be Gollum.
But yeah, they're
Um,
calling it like I'm not like super into survival crafting games, but I like Lord of the Rings, and it looks like maybe there's enough structure to make it interesting. Like I don't like the
yeah.
ones where there's like no where it just feels like you have to kind of make your own fun, and I'm not good at that.
Did you
So,
see
hmm,
that thing? I'm calling it a thing because I don't know what to really call it.
yeah.
It was called Retro Gadgets.
What's that?
It was in Day of the Devs, and it's like you build these like electronic gizmos using the in-game tools, and it's more of like a kind of like creating your own fun and like seeing other people's stuff, but like you can make like
Oh,
your own like games out of them, or like they do different things. Like it's kind of like they describe it as more of a platform. Like you like solder stuff together. Um, so like
and it like works or like
yeah, so like some people like there was examples of stuff like of a thing that kind of looked like a Game Boy that played a game, and then there's like
oh
another one that was like a functional calculator. Um, and like they're all like you know that you have this in-game like, you know, I'm sure there's some systems at play, but like it's like
yeah.
inventing your own like gadgets and stuff. Like
Uh,
it's
I
really
wonder like
weird.
how much is like pre-scripted and how much is like
Yeah, It's definitely one of those like game
Programmatic.
builder sort of games, but like a little bit different because you're making these gadgets that I guess have this some sort of like, like electronics logic to them.
Yeah. I
It's
love the vibes. I just wonder
yeah,
if
I don't really
I don't think
understand
I'm
how it
smart enough to play
works.
this.
Yeah, I definitely don't feel smart enough to build something like that. I'm kind of curious like how it works.
Oh,
Um,
early access is out, so maybe there's videos out.
yeah. Yeah,
That's
I don't
definitely a
know.
game I'm going to look into.
Yeah.
Seems like the reviews are, I mean, there's only like 178 reviews, but
Yeah.
96% are positive.
Yeah, it looked so wild to me. Like just
Yeah,
because
that's
like you see
cool.
like game maker stuff or like WarioWare DIY is like a simple game or like Mario Maker where you're making levels or something like Dreams where you're making like full games whatever, but I don't know about something where you're like literally making like a digital gadget. Like
Yeah.
I don't understand how that works. Like that kind of makes my brain melt a little.
Oh, this is really cool. They like put it on their desktop and like they're playing with it as like a desktop toy as well.
Yeah, like
That's so
it's
cool.
almost like almost I guess to for lack of a better term, like it's almost like a widget creator in a sense. Like
Yeah.
it's
Wow.
very weird and I
I
thought it
would be
was interesting.
fascinated to see what kind of things, like,
Yeah, like
how far can you take this?
what's possible with this? Yeah, like it was just a very weird and they didn't even really show much in the Day of the Devs. Like it was this brief thing and I'm like, I have a lot of questions.
Yeah. It looks like I'm watching like one of their longer videos for it, but it does
hmm
look pretty detailed.
Yeah.
Yeah, like again, like I'm just not smart enough for
Yeah,
this.
no, I feel that I'm definitely not smart enough for that.
I feel
Um,
bad like saying that,
it,
but I
it
know my limits.
Yeah, yeah. I can barely handle Mario Maker. I cannot handle
Yeah, I don't think I'm
fake
meant to virtually solder something.
fake electronics. Yeah, exactly. I'll
But yeah,
stick to like replacing Pokemon batteries in terms of my real
fascinating.
life soldering.
Yeah, thank
Yeah,
you for telling me about that. That's
yeah.
cool.
Now, I wanted to ask you because I saw this is on your list and it's been a kind of it's been kind of memed on, but I've been hearing that it's actually pretty fun, and that is Foam Stars.
Oh yeah, I mainly brought that up just because it was such a like out. This is from the PlayStation. This is from the
Yes.
PlayStation announcement thing way back when.
Yep.
But this is just such an out of left field thing.
It's Square Enix
Square Enix is doing a Splatoon clone, and that's just not something I expected.
with foam.
Yeah.
And I know the initial reaction, at least when I saw it, was that it didn't look particularly fun or
Well,
particularly well thought out,
I
at least to me.
so the thing is, I thought it looked fun, but it didn't look readable.
Yeah, like I noticed there's the foam and it like builds up and like it changes the map essentially.
Yeah, and you surf on it.
Yeah, and there's like there's like the the Splatoon, the equivalent to like Squid Ink or whatever. But like I've been hearing from people that tried it that it's really fun and that they've been surprised by it. So I'm like
Yeah.
kind of curious.
There's just so much going on.
Yeah,
It
it's
looks like it might like be confusing.
it's so bizarre to me. It also looks like the character design to me looks like they're trying to do Overwatch. Like
Yeah.
like a lot of things these days, it kind of looks like they're trying to emulate that kind of a look, and I don't think it necessarily works.
No,
Um,
yeah, everybody wants to be a hero shooter, and
yeah,
I am definitely sick of hero shooters.
yeah. Even that phrase is like generates like like
Yeah,
in me. I'm like but I was just surprised that people seem to be really digging that one, so I'm just kind of
yeah.
curious. Um,
Um, I had a few other things I just wanted to briefly mention.
sure.
Did you see Dungeons of Hinterberg?
I did not. I
That
hear
was
that
in
and
the
think Dungeons of Hindenburg, which is not.
it was in the Xbox showcase.
hmm
Let me just send you a video so you can put it on the background.
Yeah, I'm curious.
But it looks like a game you might be interested in.
hmm
It's like it's kind of stylized. It looks a little like Sable
Oh,
visually,
yes, I
tiny
did
bit.
see this. I actually thought this looked good.
Yeah, it looks kind of like a Zelda esque
Yeah, it's like an open.
puzzles and venturing.
Yeah, the art style struck me.
Yeah.
It almost looks like if someone made Adventure Time without watching Adventure Time. I don't know how to explain it. Like
Yeah, I can see a little bit of those
a
vibes.
little
It
bit,
looks
a little
it,
bit.
it
It's
looks
very
whimsical in like a neat
striking.
way.
It was
There's
one of
also like
yeah.
different perspectives. Like one part of the
Yeah.
trailer is like more overheady.
Yeah, and I see there's like that snowboarding section and like I know I see on the notepad in the videos like new day, new dungeon. Like I don't know if it's procedural or if it's like
I hope not.
yeah, but yeah, it kind of goes into that like Bastion view at
Yeah,
some
that was
point.
neat.
It's neat.
I
It's
don't
by
know. We'll
Curve.
see.
Curve did Ollie Ollie, I think. Um,
Oh, that's so
I
cool.
may be wrong on that, so don't quote me
I
on it.
believe you. I don't need to look
But
that up or verify it. I believe you.
but I thought it looked good and charming. It was one of the few things in the Xbox one that I like actually cared about.
Mm,
Because just generally the Xbox showcases aren't really for me usually, like
that
in terms
makes
of the
sense.
stuff
Though
they show.
I think they showed like a pretty good variety.
Yeah.
They also another game you might be interested was the new Capcom game Kunutsi-Gami
Yes,
Path
that
of
I
the
was happy to
Goddess.
see. I know we were all like Onimusha, Onimusha.
It does look like Onimusha.
It
It's like
gives
this
me
like
yeah.
it's
I'm
like this very stylish action beat 'em up type gaming. I don't
yeah.
know, it looked cool.
It looked really cool visually. I mean, it looked gorgeous. And that's not really a surprise coming from Capcom. Capcom's just really been on their game
Hmm.
lately. From the Resident Evils recently to like some of their collections to Street
Oh
Fighter
yeah, they're on
6
fire.
to yeah, like everything is just kind of like you know, turning up good
Hmm.
there. So I was definitely interested in that. I'm curious how it works.
Wait, that reminded me of something. I'm sorry. You can have the next two games, but I
You're fine.
forgot that we saw Dragon's Dogma 2 gameplay.
Oh,
Uh,
I did not pay much attention to that. I know people
and
love
it looks
that game.
oh, it looks great. I think where did they initially reveal this?
Was it at the Xbox? No.
Uh,
I don't remember. They were like teasing Dragon's
it might have
Dogma
been at the
2.
PlayStation reveal,
Maybe. Yeah. That seems right. I didn't watch that either.
or was it the Xbox one?
I don't know anymore. I just know that they were teasing Dragon's Dogma 2 for a while, and then they finally showed it, and I guess now there's gameplay.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm trying to find what showcase that was at.
I feel like it was the PlayStation one.
Sounds
For in
right.
terms of just like the reveal that it exists.
Yeah.
I don't know where they showed the gameplay. Um,
No, it looks really good. They showed a little more gameplay today,
yeah.
or during the Summer Games Fest somewhere.
Yeah.
But it looked good. Like it looks solid.
Yeah.
Nothing really to say about that.
Well, I'm glad that that's good because I know people have been waiting for that for a while, and there's a lot of people, an increasing number of people I hear about who like really dig Dragon's Dogma.
Yeah,
Um,
people who like it are really passionate about it, but
yeah,
I couldn't get into it. I wanted
yeah.
to. Maybe someday.
There was actually a game on your list you didn't mention yet that you reminded me existed. Um,
Oh yeah. Go for it.
yeah, the Plucky Squire. Um, I guess they showed it at the PlayStation Showcase. This is a game that's being worked on by one of the former Pokemon guys, James Montagna. It's like that like you you go between like this 2D like top-down storybook sort of like look and it's like kind of Zelda-like and then like at certain points you like pop out of the page and it go turns into like a 3D environment like in the room where the book is like on a micro scale. It reminds me a bit of do you remember that game I think it was called like RPG Time where it's like
Oh,
that
did it ever come
tabletop.
out?
It did.
Was it good?
It seemed neat to me. I haven't really heard too much. I still actually want to play it because despite the fact that I don't really like RPGs, that game is less of like a normal RPG.
Oh
Um,
wow, nobody bought that game, but it has like a 94% rating on Steam, but only like of
yeah.
174 reviews. But it looks really cute.
It looked really neat. I know it's on some other platforms as well. Like I think Japan got like a physical version of it for Switch or
Yeah,
something, but I thought it looked
it's
really
on
neat
Switch too.
and it has that, that it's that tabletop
Oh, so
mixed
cool.
with
Yeah.
tabletop and like real world element. And like this is like that as well, just in a different way.
Yeah, and I would say it looks a little more varied too.
It's definitely yeah, it's definitely more of like a traditional. game than RPG Time is, but I just thought it was very striking how you jump out of the book and you go into the 3D area, which is like the room that's around you, and like
Yeah, it's
you
so cool. Kind
do
of like how you do like
stuff.
the 2D stuff in like the Zelda game.
Yeah, like it's neat. It's definitely something I'm very curious about and something I'll probably end up grabbing because it just looks like my
Yeah,
thing. And I just always forget that that's what it's called. I just like forgot it
yeah.
existed.
It looks so cute, and like I love that. Like I feel like that Sony showcase is like a lot of like games as service, like first person
Yeah.
shooter games, and like so
Yeah.
seeing something like Plucky Squire there was very much
Yeah.
a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, and it's got like that platformer element too, like the Zelda 2
Yeah,
style thing too, and like I don't know, the style just looks really fun and neat, and the game looks very well, it looks very varied.
Mhm.
And yeah, it was just kind of like a breath of fresh air. I didn't watch the Sony presentation. I could not give a less of a shit, to be completely
I
honest
just
with
saw a
you.
few random trailers.
Yeah, I'm just that's just not I don't like the kind of stuff that they generally like put out at this point in terms of their first party, so I just don't really pay that much attention. But um, it's nice to see stuff like that. Oh yeah,
Mhm.
there's like that segment where you're like going up the stairs, but like you're in the 2D area. Oh, it's so neat.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and like
there's so much
another
neat.
trailer has like a punch out section. Like it just looks,
Yeah. They
it
had
looks
that.
really special if they can pull it off.
Um, I guess to kind of as we kind of get close to
Yeah,
wrapping
like
up here, um, I guess I want to ask you like the presentations that you saw, the stuff that you watched. How did you kind of feel about those, like just on a presentation basis? Like we had Summer Games Fest, we had the Xbox one. There was Day of the Devs,
oh,
Devolver. Like, it's funny because there's always good content buried in these presentations, even if the
mhm.
presentations themselves aren't great. But I was kind of just curious how you felt about the different shows. Again, it's a lot more scattered because it's not centralized on E3, but
Yeah, I thought the Xbox showcase was fantastic.
yeah, it was well
I
paced.
thought that was really, like, just really exciting.
Yeah,
Like they showed a varied amount of things. There was so much stuff that like I just want to say like a few titles. Like there was so much there that was like exciting that I wanted to like try, or just like games I was like, oh, like I know people who are really like this.
right.
I know they had like there was like a Sea of Thieves crossover in
With
uh,
Monkey
Monkey
Island.
Island. That looked cool. There was a new flight sim, which looked cool for those people that like those games. A
Yup.
new like a Dragon trailer.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, a few other smaller Xbox first party games.
Yup.
Um, and then there's Persona games. Again, I don't care about those, but it's cool. And then like Metaphor. Uh,
I remember that name.
Metaphor is like the game by the Persona team.
Oh, right, of course. Yes, that looked
But
very visually striking, and I'm glad they didn't just get thrown on Persona 6 or whatever.
yeah, again, they just they had a very good selection of games. I thought the pacing was really well.
If it didn't leak beforehand, the Persona 3 remake thing being there would have been pretty
Yeah.
impactful.
Mhm.
And I'm sure it was for people who hadn't, seen
Yeah.
that stuff. Um, I was kind of disappointed by Devolver this year, and it's funny because I don't watch
Yeah.
Devolver for the games at all.
Mhm.
I watch it for the shenanigans. And they had this thing going on with the mascot this year, and it was kind of fun. But man, I love Nina. I love her so much.
Yeah.
I know they've had Nina stuff going on for the past, like, what, 5 years? But
Yeah.
that actress is
It
such
was.
a good character actor. And, like,
Yeah.
they
They should have
had
brought her back.
people this time. They weren't bad, but they were not. The character actors were not as strong
Yeah.
um,
I will say,
as they
also
are.
like just like even past that, which I thought was weaker. I thought what they showed also wasn't very.
It wasn't like I couldn't remember what they showed besides
The,
Human Fall Flat 2 until I
yeah,
looked
which
it up
like
just
they didn't
now.
say anything
It
about it.
literally just showed that it's a thing.
Yeah.
That
Oh,
being said, the
the
baby
baby
steps is
steps one
cool.
looked. Yeah,
Yeah,
that one looked
it's
cool.
like 3D quap. It's
Yeah.
Bennett Foddy. Like, that was great. That's
Yeah.
like the only game from that I was like, oh, this is cool. I don't care about Talos Principle Wizard with a Gun
Uh,
is a game that exists, I
that looked
guess.
bad.
Human Fall Flat, I never played the first one, and they didn't show anything of the second one, so I
I
have no
like that game.
opinion.
You'd probably find that fun.
But Baby Steps, I was like, this is funny. This
Yeah.
is this is neat. Um,
Oh, you had put Fable on your list.
oh right.
I guess we should just briefly touch on
I'll
that. They didn't
briefly.
really show too
They.
much, but
I was just like, there were some people who really liked whatever that was. I thought it was obnoxious.
I liked
It
I
was.
liked the trailer, but it was only tone. Like we got
Yeah,
nothing
it
of like
was
the
of
actual
such a
game.
nothing burger. Like it was just
It was.
nothing. It was like, oh,
I
ha, you're a hero, something, something, visuals, whatever. I'm like, okay, you
mhm.
might as well have just shown me nothing. And then, at least again, for my sensibilities, not only did you show me nothing, you also annoyed me for like a minute and a half. So,
Yeah, I mean, I think I liked it more than you did, but
yeah, I'm sure a
I
lot of
think
people did.
I think they should have not said the word Fable until they had actual gameplay at this
I
point.
wish they just showed gameplay. Yeah, at this point, like just please.
It's
I
been
know
too
I
long that
know
like
it's in
this
engine or whatever.
that means
It
nothing.
means
Yeah.
literally nothing to me. I don't care. When people say they don't want to say they don't want to see CG stuff, it
Hmm.
doesn't mean that they just want to see some kind of in-engine footage that's not CG. It means that they want to see the actual product, the actual
Yeah, I
game.
feel like that was so empty. They were like, yeah,
Yeah.
there's no fully
Yeah, it's
cinematic.
all in game. Yeah, okay, sure, but like,
Yeah, that
you know,
absolutely
that doesn't mean anything anymore.
it was BS.
Yeah. It was technically correct, but like not what
And
I would be looking
they
for.
did show more gameplay from their first party games
They
than they
did.
usually do,
I know they had
but
Forza and they had like other stuff. No Halo, which was very funny.
which is surprising. I mean, like, I feel like they're trying to distance themselves from Halo a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing with Halo. I'm gonna be completely honest. No idea.
They're Infinite still gets updates.
Yeah.
They actually just released the season 4 trailer
Yes. I
and
remember
it looked
that.
good.
Yeah.
Like there's two new maps. There's infection modes back.
Hmm.
It seems like something they could have easily shown at like the Xbox extended showcase, but they just like I really think they're trying to like distance like Halo is not the focal brand it used to be.
It's just like
And I think they're
The
letting it
Xbox
rest.
showcases for me always it's always like everything they ever show is super early or concept, and it feels like there's not much
They were
beyond that a
they
lot
were
of the
better
time.
about that this year.
Yeah.
So I don't think they should have shown the Clockwork game yet.
Yeah.
And I don't think they should have shown Fable. And I think even without those two things, I think you have a strong showcase.
Yeah.
Because Avowed had a little bit of
There was
gameplay,
some gameplay there.
and Hellblade had a little bit of gameplay, even though it was
That
boring.
oh, that was obnoxious too. I
It
forgot about
was
that.
we.
We
I
were
know those games are a lot of walking and talking, but there's also like puzzles and
like
combat.
please show something.
Show something,
There's just
not
like that
just
narration going on, and there's like there was that lady I
yeah.
think who looked kind of zombified or was having the juice.
That was a nothing
I was
trailer.
just like, why is this happening to me? That was like one of those like,
Yeah,
why am I sitting through this right now? It's so
yeah,
weird some of the things they choose presentationally for some of these games that like are genuinely like actually interesting games, but they just show like what they choose to show
yeah.
is just
It
wild.
is weird.
Um,
But for the other conferences, I thought Summer Games Fest was there was some neat stuff there. It was just there was always just too long.
the middle is always like,
The
all
middle's
right,
always like a
it's
slog
always just
because
like,
you have to get through
okay,
like some like free to play games and
yep.
like some the Nicolas Cage thing was boring.
I would rather listen to Nicolas Cage talk than Jeff Keighley. I'll say that. That's about
That's
it.
fair.
Um,
Day of the Devs was short and sweet.
yep.
Ubisoft I thought was better than it usually is.
Yeah, I would
It
say
still had
better
like
than it
some really
usually.
boring mobile segments and
Sure.
but
It's better than it usually is for me. I didn't watch the whole thing, but it was better than usual for me because there was actually a game in there that I was interested in. That wasn't
yeah.
Just Dance. Um,
Oh, there's one other random game. I think it was shown at the Summer Games Fest, but it's the Star Trek Infinite, which is like a
oh,
grand strategy game made by
oh,
Paradox
okay.
in the Star Trek universe,
That's
made
neat.
by like the Stellaris team, which is like a already like a space grand strategy game. So if you took like
Right.
Stellaris and skinned it as Star Trek, like that sounds like a pretty good pitch for a game.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's
and like
interesting.
yeah, that's just a cool thing.
I don't know. Did you watch
I got.
Did you watch the Grasshopper Direct?
I did not. No.
So Grasshopper manufacturer was like, yeah, we've got this Grasshopper Direct for like 25 years of Grasshopper or whatever. It's gonna debut. So first it was gonna debut at like midnight, and then they were like, actually, we're still uploading it. We had some last minute tweaks. We're uploading it, and then they're like,
Oh my god.
okay, it's uploading. The preview says it'll be ready in about like 10 minutes. And they're like, it's not gonna be a live stream. It's just a video. And they're like, all right, well, I guess it's processing. And so basically, by the time this thing uploaded, it was like 1:30 in the morning. And it's this 12-minute video, and it's just the most fucking. It's the most nothing burger thing ever, but like a fabulous nothing burger. It was just a shit post. Um, like these two people talking, and like the whole gimmick was like they was just ignoring everything the girl said. And then like they went to talk to Suda, and it wasn't actually Suda. It was like some dude who was just saying like asshole things. And then they're like, Shadow of the Damned is still coming, the remaster. It's coming to everything probably. So even that information was like no information. And they're like, we have an art gallery opening in Tokyo. We know that it's only Japan, but yeah, that's a thing. And, like all this random shit. And then at the very end, like, all right, we'll talk to Suda now. And they go behind the door, and Suda's showing like working on or playing whatever his new game is. And like half the screen is blurred. You can just see some UI stuff, and they're like, oh, are we allowed to show this? And they're like, oh, no, no, no. But he's, yeah, we're doing it. Thanks for following Grasshopper. And like that was literally it. It was like a 12-minute video. It was
That's
just,
terrible.
it was awful, but like it was so funny. Like the joke, like, oh, Grasshopper is just is punk rock games. It was like literally just a video that they like. It was just a fucking shit post of a video with like basically nothing in it, and it was still worth it just because of like all the stupidness that was like going on around. Like it was just it looked like a just complete disaster. Like it was. I would, if you get the chance, I would just watch it just to see like how pointless it is. It's very funny.
There was also the some pointless showcases. There was the Capcom showcase, which
Yes,
is
I didn't watch that.
so
I
dull.
heard
It
that was an
started with
email.
like
I heard that could have been an email.
yeah, it started with the same trailer, the same like Pathless trailer, whatever that game is called.
Oh, yeah.
The Onimusha one. I already forgot the title.
Yeah, yeah, I already forgot to. Not
Something,
Onimusha.
The not Onimusha game.
Yeah.
They start with a trailer of that, and then just showed like the most like dull, boring announcements.
Yeah, was there really
Like
much in the way of announcements? The only thing I remember is like the Street Fighter Exo Primal crossover where you can like
which
Shoryuken a dinosaur as
that was
Robot
announced
Ryu.
somewhere else.
Oh, was
That
that
was
somewhere
announced at
else?
Summer's Games Fest.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I couldn't even remember.
Yeah, they showed a little bit of Exo Primal, a little
Yeah.
more of like the quote campaign type thing in that game.
Yeah, I still don't know what really that game is. I also don't really care. I know the
Oh,
the beta thing
it's
is available.
it's
or whatever.
cool. It's kind of a cool game actually.
Yeah.
But
It was
yeah,
very
so they
much
showed a
like
little bit of Exo Primal, a little tiny bit of Dragon's Dogma. They're not much at all.
Is there anything for Monster Hunter? Like for
No.
Rise? Oh, okay.
Not to my recollection.
Yeah.
There was this game called Mega Man X Dive Offline.
Ah, yes, that's a mobile game that
an
is
offline version of a mobile game.
Yeah.
I could not care less.
Yeah, it looked, from what I recall of seeing that game in general, it looked very like whatever to me. I appreciate that they're making it available on Steam and offline, but
Yeah.
like I don't know if I'd actually play it or not. That's definitely not the Mega Man announcement that I would want. Although I'm
No.
sure people are very happy that it's getting that offline version.
Maybe. I
But
don't know.
yeah,
I thought they would show like Resident Evil 4 or DLC or something, like separate
Yeah.
ways, but no.
like
None of that.
I mean, I knew it wasn't gonna happen, but like I was like, yeah, maybe one day I'll get Mega Man 12. You know,
Mega Man Legends 3 was not there.
I'm glad that I did not get up for the Capcom presentation. Like I was going to like, I was sleeping, and I was like, oh, maybe I'll get up and watch it. And I was like, eh.
No, you made the right call.
And I mean, I get it. Like these companies sometimes want to have a media presence there, even if they don't have anything new to show. Like it at least like has people like, the idea is, I guess, that people are aware of the slate that they're working on or whatever.
Yeah.
But I know, especially this time of the year, I think the enthusiast audience is obviously looking for like actual like news and announcements as opposed to recaps.
The problem was they sold their big announcements to the bigger shows,
Right?
Which just ate from their own show.
There was also
Like,
the the Yakuza showcase, mini
I
showcase.
I heard that wasn't worth watching.
Yeah, I didn't watch it. I mean, it's cool to see that that game is coming. The trailer and the Xbox presentation was funny, even if it made literally didn't mean anything to me at all. And
Yeah,
they had like that Jet
I
Set Radio crossover with the roller like champions. Like there's all kinds of weird shit like
yeah,
that
there's so
this
much
time.
stuff, but I think we covered a lot of it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, overall, I
Um,
think the presentations are pretty mid, but there's always,
yeah, for me, the
stuff.
Xbox one was great.
Yeah,
Summer Games Fest was okay.
yeah,
Ubisoft was okay.
yeah. And a lot of the
But
others I just didn't watch.
didn't
I
care
didn't
or
see the Future
watch.
Game Show. I didn't see the Wholesome
I skipped
Direct.
that.
I
I
didn't
skipped PC
see
Gamer Show.
PC. Yeah, I didn't see yeah, with Frankie who was back, I guess, as a floating head, which I love Frankie,
Yeah,
but like that show
I
is
was
like
out during these. I probably would have watched them if I was there, but
if
I
I
just
yeah,
don't
I
care
went to
enough.
bed. I was like, I'm taking a nap and I
Yeah.
don't care about watching this because they're
Uh,
always like 3 hours long, the PC gaming
yeah.
show.
I didn't watch the Wholesome Direct because that one's always bad.
I generally like the wholesome directs, but like I didn't. I think I forgot it was happening, and I wasn't that upset that I missed it. I'll get the cliff notes
I heard it
on
was
one of
mostly
those.
farming games.
Yeah, yeah. I'll get the cliff notes. The only thing from the I think it was the wholesome direct. Maybe it was the future game show. There was actually a small play date section in one of those,
Oh, that's cool. I
where they
like
just showed
that.
a couple of quick glimpses at games that Panic
Hmm.
was funding for Playdate. So I caught that segment. It wasn't much, but it was
That
a
who was
little
working for?
thing. So what's up?
That who was working for?
I
You said
think
like,
Panic was funding
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
some stuff for Playdate.
That was the name I messed with.
Yeah. So there's bits and bobs in every one of them, but I think in general we kind of talked about the stuff that we thought was
Yeah,
interesting. I'm sure
I think we
someone
did a good
will
job.
point out that we missed something or that they were
And
super
they
stoked for
doesn't
something else,
matter.
and it doesn't matter. No, but
Uh,
it's presentation season now. Really, the only
yeah,
thing left now is kind of waiting to see when Nintendo decides to do
Nintendo.
theirs, and when that happens, we will do a thing on it. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Um,
We have some other ideas kicking around,
yeah,
so
but
we'll get back to you.
yeah, we'll get back to you eventually. See, we made
Yeah,
it back here eventually.
yeah,
It
we're
took a
back.
while. We've all been
We
kind of busy, and
back.
you know,
We
um,
out here.
yeah.
Yeah.
I know you wanted to get an episode out, um, for a while now, and I mean I did too. It's just
I love talking about video games.
everything is busy, busy, busy. I'm working again, and
Hmm.
everyone's got their own stuff going on, so you know who knows. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think that about wraps
Woo.
us up for today.
Hmm.
Um,
We have a
and
Discord.
we do have a Discord. It's called Nintendo Pipeline. I don't know if that's still the invite link. Is it
I think
discord.gg
it's
slash Nintendo Pipeline?
I
Or is it
think it's
Ninpipe?
discord.gg/ninpipe.
Yeah, that sounds right. Something
That one
like
works.
that.
Yeah,
Just type
it's
in random
ninpipe.
stuff until you find it.
Yeah.
Um,
We I've been meaning to post a review on the blog,
yes, we
and
finally have something coming to the blog.
I just keep forgetting.
No, yeah, I mean everybody else
So
forgot about it, so it's fine.
TBD, it will
Yeah,
be posted. I'll probably need Clay's help,
you might need my help. Yeah,
mostly for moral support.
yeah, it's a big ask.
But I do have a
Our
piece of writing that I'm going to copy paste from
our 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 undead blog is coming back for at least one
yeah.
more scare.
It's going to be an unedited or very slightly edited Hue piece. It might be
Yes.
20 pages. We used
Yeah,
to have
who knows?
rules, but there's no rules
There,
anymore.
yeah, it's all there's no rules anymore. It's just everything is
If you want to
wild
post a
now.
50-page review on there, you
Yeah, I
can
mean, go
go
for it.
for it.
That'll be like enough content for us for like 3 years before we post something else. So, um,
uh,
but yeah, that's gonna wrap it up for this episode. Hopefully we will see you again soon. Hopefully much sooner than last time. I think our last episode was about PAX East, which was back in like
oh wow.
March or February or something. So, hopefully we won't go that long without one again.
Yeah, I
But
want to talk about Zelda at some point.
yeah, we will be talking about Zelda at some point. I'm sure there's other games that we'd like to talk about as well. I'm still making my way through Zelda. I say early on, even though I've put like 30
Yeah.
hours into it. I think it's safe to say that both of us have really enjoyed Zelda.
Oh, it's
Um,
the best game of all time.
it's very good. Um, so we'll have more stuff out soon, but
Hmm.
thanks for listening to this one.
Yeah, thank you so
This
much.
is episode 64, uh, which
Whoa, like
you
Mario.
like that Nintendo 64 thing you kids
Yo.
might be into. Um,
Uh, can we just do another mini episode right now about our favorite Nintendo 64
yeah,
games?
I'll here's my list. None, no. Just kidding.
Mario
Just kidding.
64, Zelda
Sin
Ocarina
and
of Time,
Punishment,
and Majora's
Star
Mask.
Fox,
The
Robotron
good ones.
64 is lit.
Mm.
Didn't we do a Nintendo 64 episode before? I don't
I don't.
remember. I honestly don't remember
I
anymore.
don't. I
It's
don't know.
next episode is
That's for
gonna
another
be
time.
about my favorite Playdate games. So get ready for that. It's very Nintendo related.
Thank you
Um,
for listening, everybody. Have a
Thanks
good
for
night.
listening. Good night, and we will see you soon. Bye.